The next thing that I would do for my Wikipedia cell site is start looking for some natural divisions. What I mean by that is the cell site, for example, all of this under this horizontal rule, probably down to this operation section, right? So including the contents, all of this would potentially make a nice natural division. So let's highlight what I'm talking about here. All of this stuff, we could probably put everything all the way down to here in one division. If we're going to do that, then we could put all of this text from operation down to here in its own division. And then, since under operation you have several subheaders, maybe each one of those could go in its own division. It's really up to you. Okay, but that's what I would probably do. Start putting these in their own divisions. Another task that you can handle right now is marking up the headers. Now remember, we pasted plain text into our document. So you could go along and mark up these headers and mark this cell site text potentially as bold. Actually, I'd probably want you to wait on that. In the old days, you could just mark it up in the HTML, but nowadays we're doing it with cascading style sheet code. Operation is a header, so we'd want to mark it as an H2, and range would be an H3. Channel reuse would be an H2. Okay, there are some other things that we could do as well. Notice that on the Wikipedia cell site, there are these little superscripts indicating that there's some type of it's a reference. So we'll probably be looking for a footer somewhere, or a reference section at the end of the page. And the way that we can do those is with the superscript tag. We've already learned how to do that. This book section right here, I would want you to wait on that. I'll show you how to do that in a completely different video, and we could we'll wait to do this contents area and these images. Actually, these images are going to go inside of a division and be held in place with floats, and we have a float tutorial that will help us do that. Okay, so just looking down the page, you can see that there are some bullets. So that is also HTML that we can change. And it looks like that's just about it. Down here in the See Also section, there's a set of bullets. So we might want to go ahead and set those up. Okay, so there's a lot of HTML work that we can get done and start to prep with. So let's get started on that. Additionally, I'm asking for this assignment for you to have, I believe, 5 links. So we can go set up a couple of links along the way as well. That's also HTML work. So let's get started. Cell site is an H1. So let's highlight it, and we're going to use the interface. And if I come down to the property inspector, there's this format field, and next to it it says paragraph currently. I'm going to drop this box down and choose H1 for heading 1. Okay. I'm going to select operation next. Operation could be marked up as an H2. Channel reuse is under operation, so it would be naturally an H3. And I believe geolocation is also an H3. And let me go back and look at my document and make sure that all this that I'm saying is true. Range, channel reuse, geolocation. So all of these items, cell phone tower, temporary setup, emergency power, are H3s. Pretty simple, straightforward. Camouflage is a level up. It is an H2, and C also is an H2. So camouflage, H2, C also is an H2. All right, so we've already added a little bit better structure and for our page here. Now, I'm going to put all of this cell site information here from here to here, right before the end of operation or beginning of operation. I'm going to select all of that and show you how you can add a division wrapper container around it. So with that selected, I choose Insert and Layout Objects, Div Tag. We're inserting a div tag, or in other words, putting all of this content in a container. So you have several options here in this Insert Div Tag dialog. Insert Wraparound Selection, which is the one that we want. You could also insert a div tag before the tag or after the start of a tag. But we really just want to wrap it around our selection or our selected text. And right here, what does this mean here? Class. We could apply a class to our division at this point, a CSS class. Okay, now we don't have the class defined at this point, but if we knew that we were going to create a class for H1s or the way that they look, or another class such as Verdana bolded blue text class that we're going to create later, if we knew we were going to apply that, we could go ahead and use that here. Currently I don't want to do that, and I'm just going to call this piece of text that I have, or this division that I have, the div cell site. I'm just giving it an ID. I can do that right here in this dialog. That's kind of cool. So I don't have to go out to the code to do that, to give it an ID anymore, and I don't even have to drop down to the property inspector to ID my division. I'm going to hit OK, and now you can see that Dreamweaver has inserted a division around that section. And also, if you look down in here in the property inspector, there's my ID that I just entered in that dialog. The next thing that I would do is come to the operations section, and I think all the way down just before the start of camouflage is what I'm going to select, and I'm going to place all of that content in another division. So I select the content that I want to wrap around, and I choose Insert, Layout Objects, Div Tag, and I'm going to call this ID Div Operations, and hit OK. Should have been operation, not operations, but hey, I do that sometimes. And I'll do the same for the camouflage section. Layout Objects, Div Tag, Div Camouflage. Let's see if I spell it right. And here's the C also section. Insert, Layout Objects, Div Tag, Div C also. So now I have all these containers for these different named sections, and if I want to get crazy, I can do this, and there might be a reason to. Can't think of it right now, but this operation division is pretty large, and it has some subheaders in it. So look at what you could do. You could come here to Channel Reuse and select all of that content and insert a division, layout objects, div tag around it. What was it called again? Channel Reuse. So let me do that one more time. Div tag, div, channel, reuse. Okay, so we're just breaking our page up into sections. Right, and that's nice because we can create links that point to those sections later on. Now another thing that I said that we could do is set up our bullets. So under the range section, here's some text here that should rightly be bullets. We'll go do that now. Okay, so I have to find it first. Range. And I'm not sure where I put it. It's under Operation Range. Ah, it's right here. Okay, and including, and by the way, let's say that you can't find some text that you're looking for, like this, factors including. I'm going to copy that and come over here, and should be an edit find. Okay, edit find and replace will allow you to find something very quickly. There it is. So I want to make sure that I hit enter here. I hit enter here. Transmitted, yep. Required, yep. I hit enter here. Enter here. Enter here. I'm sorry to switch around on you so much. I just have to go back and forth between these two documents. And the last one is, it may be blah blah blah. Okay. So now look at what I can do. Now that I've separated all of my bullet points out, I can highlight them all, drop down to the property inspector, and here is an unordered list button. Bam! And all of a sudden I have bullets. And I don't really need you to do much more than that, okay? You can change the spacing between the lines later with CSS for those bullets if you like. You can make them blue later if you like it, or if you want to replace them with an image, but I'm not asking you to go that far. So you can see how quickly you can modify this page's HTML to get the results that you see here. And this is the easy part. This is where I would start with this page. And I will let you finish the rest of your bullets. One more thing I want to show you. This one right here, here's how to do a superscript. So I'm going to go find it. It's after this first paragraph. Stealth, sheltering, here it is. Okay, I can also go in and just by hitting enter make my new paragraph. Alright, and look at what I can do here. I'm going to go into the code view and wrap a superscript tag, oops, around that, and watch what happens. Now I have a superscripted one.